no one in my family or associated with me will be involved in any foreign operation whatsoever. Period. End of story. Now let's focus on the problem. The problem is we have a president who violated his oath.
Well, Joe Biden defending his son Hunter, who resigned from a Chinese firm, and vowing to remove all foreign business ties if Biden wins the White House. And now raising a new series of questions as to why Hunter was involved in foreign business in the first place. A criminal defense attorney, Robert Bianchi, is here to help break it all down. You know, the question, why did he not step away from these boards in Ukraine and China while his father was vice president?
I have a unique perspective, having been a prosecutor with a lot of ethics rules that applied to me, but they did not apply to my family and they didn't apply to my friends. The responsibility for complying with the ethics rules is with the elected or governmental officials, so that there were times when I was involved in a situation with my family and friends, I would have to back up and say to the Attorney General of the state, I can't handle this because I'm conflicted. The idea that we're telling our family and friends that they can't hold positions, trading on their name, look, the Trumps do it, the Bidens do it, there's nothing inappropriate with that so long as the levers of state aren't being pulled and manipulated in the process.
Right. Do you think that the Trump family is held to a completely different standard, though?
It's different with the Trump family because the president is the ultimate policymaker for this country. The vice president, look, with the Ukraine prosecutor scenario, is acting on the wishes of Obama and the IMF and the UN with regard to getting rid of that corrupt prosecutor. With the president, it's a little closer. But again, I say, if his children are taking advantage of the brand, Trump's whole thing is the brand, and they're benefiting from that financially, there's nothing wrong with it so long as they're not using their father or the government in order to improve their position. It's a distinction maybe that people find fine, but nevertheless, we live in America. You're allowed to make money on your brand.
Let's take a look at Hunter Biden's attorney. This is what he had to say on Burisma, his involvement with that company, which was the Ukrainian company. Said Hunter focused his work on the principles of corporate transparency, governance, and responsibility, which was based on his prior experience as a lawyer and director on other boards. At no time has any law enforcement agency, either domestic or foreign, alleged that Hunter engaged in wrongdoing at any point during his 5-year term. So as an attorney and a prosecutor, pick apart the wording there. Well, for me,
I think the wording is relevant here because he can be on a board. There's no problem with that. And the fact of the matter is, when Biden went over there to get rid of that quote-unquote corrupt Ukrainian prosecutor, he did that at the behest as a messenger for Obama. In fact, that famous tape that's being referred to, I held the funds in order for them to get rid of him. They said, well, who are you to tell us that? And he goes, here's Obama's phone number. You want to call him? I'm doing this on behalf of the president. So he was doing it as part of U.S. policy. And here's the interesting thing for me from a common sense point of view, Heather. Why, if it was clear that that prosecutor, the one that they were trying to get rid of, was not investigating corruption of companies, that would have been the perfect cover for Biden. Joe Biden would have said, oh, my son is protected if he were doing something nefarious. Why put in a prosecutor that would be a real crime fighter? That would put his son in jeopardy.
So how about, in an effort to answer those questions, should Hunter eventually testify before Congress?
That's a great,
and if they haven't done anything wrong, why not?
That's a great question. Here's why not in my mind. There's a difference between a court of law and what is legal and ethical versus the court of public opinion and going into that Congress. If I felt that Congress was going to ask questions for the purposes of getting to the truth and formulating perhaps policies that could curb foreign influence with regard to family and friends, which I think is going to be very difficult, then I'd say go for it. But you know as well as I do, it is going to be an issue of political theater, and all that's going to happen is that the Republicans are going to attack him in order to try to score political points, and the Democrats are going to try to do the opposite. I have no confidence in Congress with either party that this will be a search for the truth.
Similar to how Don Jr. was attacked for hours and hours when he testified.
Yeah, I mean, you know, listen, you can say testify, but my feeling has always been when you do things like that, or even when my position, when somebody said something that was completely inaccurate in the media, I had two choices: respond to it or throw more oxygen onto the fire, or just let it go and it'll be a one-day story. So if I were him, I wouldn't do it, but if I were the Republicans, I'd want him in.
I don't know if it's going to be a one-day story. It's already lasted for so long. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You got it, Heather.